So you've opened an Etsy shop and you've connected it with a print-on-demand company like Printful. And now you're sitting back and you're waiting anxiously for that cha-ching sound to come through. After all, you've been listening to all the Etsy gurus talk about how you can make a full-time income selling on Etsy. You're looking forward to having the money roll in each month and getting a piece of that passive income pie for yourself. Or perhaps you've been sitting on the fence for a while thinking about opening an Etsy shop, but wondering if the market is just too saturated and that maybe there just isn't space for you on Etsy. If either of these sound like you, then you have clicked on the right video today. In this video, we're going to go over real results, real growth, and expectations, and what the real opportunity is on Etsy for you. What are your chances of creating the numbers we are going to talk about today for yourself? We're going to be taking a look at my July revenue and profit numbers, and I will share with you how long it took me to get the shop to where it is. You will see exactly what the growth was month by month, and I will also share with you what the number of my listings looked like month by month, so you can make some goals for yourself and set yourself some real honest expectations. Simply Shawna here, former 4th grade teacher, and now I am a full-time Etsy seller. If I could do it, you could do it too. We're going to start by taking a little trip back in time. We're going to look at July of 2021, and then we'll look at 2022, and then we'll look at this past July of 2023. Here we are in July of 2021. It was my 10th full month on Etsy selling POD items. I had 233 orders, which brought me $8,954 in revenue. But let's give this a little perspective. I was busting my butt, staying up late every school night and waking up an hour early each morning and working through the weekends to get my items listed. I was listening to YouTube videos on my way to school, on my way home from school, while I blow dried my hair, did my makeup, went for a run, or cooked dinner, so that I could learn as much as possible. But I had to multitask when I was watching my YouTube videos, because if I were sitting down somewhere, I was actually applying the things I was learning and trying to design shirts and list them. My 10th month in, my designs were not great, but they were a lot better than they were, let's say, my 3rd month in. I was not very good at the market research, but I was sticking with just a couple of niches that I personally was very passionate about. So I did have some idea of what I would want to see and what I would want to wear in those niches, and what was funny or what was sweet or phrases that would be memorable or meaningful to people in those niches. I did know enough to know that I should be doubling down on anything that was working. And all that really means is that if something were getting sales, or even if it was just getting more views than other items, I would make more designs in that niche and with that SEO, or targeting those pieces of SEO that were attached to those listings that were doing well. SEO are your title and your tags, and it is how Etsy is pairing up your listing with a potential buyer. So if that listing was a teacher's shirt for teachers who like cats, then I would make more items for teachers who like cats, other designs, other phrases targeting that specific SEO. And when I say doing well, that's all relative. At that time, it was just what had had a couple sales or what was getting the most views. Not all of the niches that I was designing in were getting any traction, but there were 2 niches that were getting some traction. They were the ones getting regular visits and views, and the ones that were getting the sales. Looking back, I'm super grateful that I didn't just build my shop out and allow myself only to design in one niche. Allowing myself the flexibility to try out a couple of different niches let me experiment enough to see that, oh, I'm grabbing traction here. And then I was able to double down in the area where I was grabbing traction, or the areas where I was grabbing traction. I do have a general store, and I do like having a general store, so I do give myself the flexibility to design wherever I want. One of the things that was great about this in the beginning was that I did not have the market research skills needed to validate the market and know that I was designing in a niche that were low competition and high demand. And so it was best that I didn't put all my Etsy eggs in just one niche basket, so to speak. We see here that first year I was listing quite a bit each month. I did pretty much sacrifice all my free time in order to make that happen. I was just under 1,200 listings by the end of July. The profit was slow going, especially considering how much time I was putting in. And finally, in my 8th month, you'll see here I broke $1,000 profit for the month, which probably worked out to something around $5 an hour. But hey, I was on my way up, and that was better than the pennies per hour that I had been making. But then you can see the growth starts to really add up much faster after that. Now, honestly, this was a really exciting time because I was finally starting to see a return on my investment of time here in profits coming back my way. So that July, it was right around $2,500 profit. And that was just about doubling from the June there. And it just kept growing from there. Now moving right into July of 2022, exactly 1 year later. I have 473 orders, and the revenue is $21,439. If I toggle this switch here, we can actually compare the two graphs. We could see the 2021 graph there and the 2022. 2022 was just a little over double 2021. If you've done what really needed to be done over the course of the year, when you're comparing your shop to 1 year prior, you should see a nice hike, a nice bit of growth. By now, in 2022, I had really built out one of the niches that I was making those regular sales in the summer before. I was listing throughout the year consistently for various important dates and holidays specific to this niche so that I could just keep growing it. This is really the benefit of focusing in on a couple of big money-making niches. Each year, the wave that you get to ride is just bigger and bigger of sales from that niche if you've consistently listed to it year over year. One of the niches I do really well in, it hikes up a bit. There's a couple times in the year where it really cashes in and hikes up a bit. And over the summer is one of them, July being one of those months. Again, the trick is to really add to those niches over the months throughout the year, hitting the times or those moments in the year or those events in the year that people are really going and purchasing. If you want to know more about the niche that I do well in over the summer and that helped me make my July sales, you can head down to the description. You can look for the words, my favorite niche, and you'll find more information about that niche. Now we're going to fast forward to July of 2023. So this past July, I wound up with 1,093 orders, and that brought me in a revenue of $56,633. You could see there that this graph compared to the 2022 graph, it looks pretty sizable, and I have over doubled what I had last year. Now that is to say that each year I have been able to double the revenue from the year prior. And we are going to get to the profit of 2023. But have you guys been hearing that? That's Tucker. He has been very insistent and apparently has something that he wants to express to us. And I've been kind of ignoring him, but I don't think he's going to be ignored anymore. Okay. All right, Tuck, what is it, bud? Thank you, Tucky. Now is the perfect time to do just that. If you want to follow this journey and learn just where we could take our shops over time, take a second to go ahead and smash the like button or subscribe. This is going to be an ongoing journey, and Tucker and I will be bringing you with us as we go. Now let's get back to what's important here. What are the profits for the month of July? And then we will address the elephant in the room. Is this still possible for you? If you were to open a shop this afternoon, are you going to be able, is it plausible, is it reasonable to think that you'll be able to gain these kinds of profits over a similar amount of time to myself? More to come on that, but right now, let's get into those profit numbers. The Etsy payout, the money that Etsy sent to my bank account after they kept their fees from Etsy fees and from ads, was $43,690.41. Now I had to go then and pay my POD partners, my print on demand partners. I use Printful and I use Printify. I had to pay them $30,550.72 for all of my items, for printing on my items, and for shipping my items. Because remember, I never had to touch any of these items. The print on demand partner is doing all of it for me. Now, after paying them, that left me with a profit of $13,139.69 for the month of July. Okay, let's take a minute to go back and revisit that number I just shared of what I paid my print-on-demand partners. We might as well as make that amount of money work for us. I like to use credit cards with really great reward programs. I will link down in the description below a video that I did all about the credit cards that I specifically use. You'll want a couple of them before your business starts to scale. And usually you're going to have time to do that. As you could see during my growth, I had plenty of time to make that happen before my business started scaling. In this video that I'll link down below, I go over exactly the credit cards that I'm using and specifically what the POD company falls under as far as that type of purchase, that purchase category, and what those credit cards give you back specifically for that purchase category that the POD company falls under. I make extra free money every month just by making these purchases. I pay them off each week. Etsy pays me, I pay my credit cards off. But by the end of the month, I have a nice little sum of extra cash in the form of rewards on those credit cards. I had to pay the POD companies in total $30,550.72. That all went on my credit cards. I had two specifically that I was using this past month. And in rewards, I received $611. I like to always save that up, and I like to spend that on trips. So I already have my mind set on a couple of things that I want to be doing a couple months from now, and I'll share with you how much it accumulates over time and what I'm able to do with that money. I usually spend it about once a year. Now you might be finding yourself wondering, what part did ads play in my profits? How much am I spending on ads? How are they working into this? Well, I will tell you that ads played zero part in what I shared with you about 2021 and 2022. At that time, I was too afraid to run ads. I was not playing with them, and so I was not using them at that time. Now I am using them. I started using them probably last August. So this year I was using ads. My revenue from ads during the month of July, the amount of people who clicked on my ad and then purchased items, that revenue added up to $25,156.29. I spent $6,199.05 on ads. Now that left me with being in the negative. I made no profit from my ads. I lost $275 on my ads. When we take a look here at my ads, my stats from my ads, I was running $200 a day up until around mid-July. And I started maxing out there. You see here I was maxing out, that it flatlines there. Then I upped it to $300 a day. My intention was to keep track of what was going on. I have a video all about how I keep track of ads, and it absolutely works, except I wasn't doing it. I was ignoring my ads, and I just didn't have time to be looking at them, and that cost me. Usually my ads make me at least $1,000 extra of profit each month, but of course this month they lost me almost $300. So then I cranked it up. I started spending $300 a day. You'll see here, finally, I realized that I'm losing money. As a matter of fact, I lost $400 during this chunk of time right here. And right here, that second orange arrow there, is where I start going in and applying the strategies that I teach in this video that I'll link down in the description below. And I start getting it turned around. And this month, during the month of August, I'll finish getting things turned around and start turning a profit on my ads and making my ads work for me a bit better. So overall, for the month, I was able to save it a bit, and my ads have now lost me $275 instead of the whopping $400 that one chunk of time was losing me. You'll see that there's a drop in how much I was spending on ads, and that's because I was going in and applying the strategies, and so Etsy actually was spending less money. They were spending it smarter, but they were overall spending less. So as I continue to apply the strategies, they'll again start spending more, but they'll spend it smarter because I'll be directing them with how I want it spent through, again, the strategies that I teach in that video. All right, so now back to that elephant in the room. Is Etsy too saturated? If you open a shop this afternoon, are you going to be able, is it reasonable for you to think that you might be able to get these same kind of results I have over the same length of time with the same amount of effort? And I want you to click right here on the video that's about to pop up so I can share with you some very important news on that. But not until after this tip from Tucker. Tucker, take it away.